Welcome to Skinner and Chalmers Weekly Roast. Today, a quiet house, a louder family.
Welcome, one and all, to a very, very special edition of Skinner and Chalmers Weekly Roast. Listen closely, dear friends, and you may notice a peculiar resonance in the room today, a sort of pleasant, dimensional echo. It's as if you're hearing our broadcast in stereo, but the second speaker has a slightly different, yet reassuringly familiar, personality.
Seymour, you're confusing the listeners before we've even gotten to the first topic. What he means is we have guests, and for once they're not here because of a Sonic's hedge getting cut down, citywide crisis, or an impending metaphysical disaster.
Indeed. Today we are joined by two gentlemen who have, quite literally, traveled across worlds to be with us. Two individuals who prove that a good conversation can transcend even the most stubborn of dimensional barriers. It is my pleasure to welcome to the garage studio, well, me and him.
And me and him. Well, the robot versions or unlimited Steam versions of us. For the sake of our listeners' sanity, let's use their proper designations. Please give a warm Memfield welcome to Roboskinner and Superintendent Climmers.
It's a pleasure to be here, Seymour, Gary. Thank you for the invitation, and for the comfortable chair. The ones in the Twitch Asylum visiting room are less than ergonomic. Indeed. The lumbar support is practically non-existent, as I noticed when you showed me your old cell. A significant oversight in institutional furnishing. Thank you for having us. The acoustics in this garage are surprisingly robust.
We do our best. It's been a few weeks now since your and my rather dramatic arrival, gentlemen. We felt it was time for the town and our listeners to properly meet the men who were, for a year, the most profound mystery in Memfield, and the one who transferred Anna, Chief, and me into a collapsing universe.
Well, what can I say except you're welcome?
Never ever do that again. My heart was broken and yours too, Roboskinner. But for today, let's have a positive mood. And we must start with you, Climmers. You are the ultimate traveler, the man from another place. Tell us, after a lifetime in the quiet, predictable, and dare I say, slightly beige and purple reality of the unlimited Steam dimension, what is it like to be dropped into the vibrant, chaotic, and frequently nonsensical tapestry of Memfield?
Beige and purple. I must say, that purple reminds me of that purple Tonberry I've met in town. But yes, that's a remarkably accurate assessment of the color palette, Seymour. I had never quite put my finger on it. The predominant shade was taupe, with occasional bursts of eggshell.
And our world in comparison
is loud, visually, audibly, and texturally. My first full day here, I took a walk with my Seymour after we arrived. In the space of 15 minutes, I was introduced to a sentient, spherical pet that was bouncing down the street. A skeleton who offered me a surprisingly detailed weather forecast for the coming week, and two rather large alligators being walked on leashes.
Cosmo and the puppies, our dear Bartholomew, and of course, Gizmo and Mr. Jellybeans. A perfectly normal morning stroll.
The alligators then proceeded to wreak havoc on the hedges of a blue, bipedal hedgehog, who seemed more exasperated than surprised. It was a significant deviation from my previous experiences, which largely consisted of waiting for a luncheon that was invariably doomed to carbonize.
You get used to the hedgehog. His hedges, however, are a constant source of neighborhood tension.
He has a point, Climmers. The chaos here has a certain internal logic, a rhythm. Once you learn the steps, the dance is almost pleasant. It's the sheer density of it all that I find so remarkable. Your home, our home, was a house, a lawn, and a single stoic tree. This home, your home, contains at last count 17 distinct species of sentient or semi-sentient life, a portal to a pocket dimension in the linen closet that Seymour insists is for storage, and a talking parrot named Dobwa, who seems to be learning sarcasm at an exponential rate.
He's a very gifted mimic. He's been listening to Gary.
I am not taking responsibility for the parrot's burgeoning passive aggression.
You also have this mysterious god cube. What's the fuzz about it?
Oh yeah, that's mostly for decoration purposes. Oh, and it protects our house when it burns down and restarts the universe or something.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe let's talk about the food. Yes, the food. That has been the most profound adjustment.
Ah, yes, I can imagine.
For years, My entire culinary experience was defined by a single, repeating event: the smell of smoke, a flimsy excuse, and the eventual consumption of cheese that smells like feet.
Don't be ridiculous. Feet didn't smell like that.
Then what does it smell like? Anyways, the first meal I had here, the one your Seymour prepared the night we arrived, it was a simple roasted duck, and it was, cooked, all the way through, but not, too far through. It was juicy, and burned. But my favorite is not duck, it's chicken! And I don't eat duck because I'm a vegetarian, so I have eaten a salad instead. Just a salad, it was delicious.
I was very careful with the oven temperature. I used a meat thermometer, 3 of them in fact, for redundancy.
I confess I wept silently into my napkin, not just from relief but from the sheer overwhelming novelty of it all. To taste a competence, it was a revelation.
I know the feeling. I experience it every time Seymour manages to make toast without activating the fire alarm. It's a rare and precious gift.
I resent that. My toast-related incidents have decreased by a full 12% this quarter. It's a marked improvement.
It is a process. Learning to moderate the heat. In all things, it's one of the primary topics in my weekly sessions.
And how is that going, Roboskinner? If you don't mind us asking, from the asylum to parole to co-hosting a podcast, it's quite the trajectory.
It is an adjustment. My therapist, a very patient woman who has a worrying fondness for inkblots that all look like disapproving crustaceans, says I am making foundational progress.
That's wonderful. I'm happy for you.
It is, but it is also difficult. For so long my entire existence was defined by a single driving obsession. My programming was a recursive loop of grief and purpose. Find Climmers, rescue Climmers, recreate the world for Climmers. Every action, every thought, was a subroutine in service of that grand, flawed design. You were trying to free me from a prison I didn't even know I was in. That's honorable. I was. But in doing so, I built a prison for myself. A prison of obsession. And I've hurt innocent people. I didn't just want to save you, Climmers. I wanted to possess the idea of you. The version of you that existed in my memory banks. The one who was the anchor of my lost world. The man on this side of the microphone. He is far more complex and far more real. Learning to navigate a relationship with a person, rather than a memory, is challenging.
Tell me about it. I've been doing it for 30 years.
Oh, hush you.
And the quiet. My new house is very quiet. For years I had the chaos of my own mind, the whispers of the devil, the hum of the purple fridge, the Constitution of 1800 outside my window. Now, there is just the sound of the refrigerator, and the ticking of a clock. It is a terrifying and beautiful sound. It is the sound of a life that is not on a loop. It is the sound of linearity, of a future.
Oh, my dear boy, that is the most poetic thing I've ever heard anyone say about a kitchen appliance. It brings a tear to my eye. We are so very proud of the man you are becoming.
I am as well, though I confess I am still processing the revelation that my entire existence was a AI-generated television show that was, for lack of a better term, cancelled. It does put a damper on one's sense of existential security.
You get used to that too. In Memfield, existential security is a fleeting and often overrated concept. One day you're a respected superintendent. The next you're being flung through a purple vortex because your husband's evil twin tried to reboot reality. It's Tuesday.
I'm truly sorry for all the harm I've caused. I truly am, but that brings me to something I have been wanting to ask you both. You, Seymour, and you, Gary.
Ask away. The floor is yours.
You lost a year. While you were way trapped in my fading world, a year passed here. You're Seymour. He mourned you deeply, and then you returned. What is that like, to bridge that gap, to reclaim a life that has continued on without you? I ask. For research purposes, my own gap is considerably larger.
That's a heavy question for a lighthearted podcast.
But a good one. A necessary one. You tell him, Gary, I'm still too close to it.
It's strange. In that one moment on that hill, seeing Seymour's face, seeing the grief melt into disbelief, then joy, it felt like no time had passed at all. It felt like I had just stepped out for a moment and come back. But the world, it's different. The lines on Seymour's face are a little deeper. Our pet skeleton, Bartholomew, has taken up whittling, which is a development I am still struggling to process. The town has changed in small ways. New shops, new potholes, new cards in Yuji's card game shop. It's like watching a film and realizing you've skipped a chapter.
A very sad chapter, one filled with far too many failed attempts at baking consolation pies.
And in our relationship, it's added a new layer, a layer of fragility, of not taking the morning coffee for granted. I spent a year gone, a ghost in a memory, and he spent a year learning to live with that ghost. Coming back, it wasn't just a reunion, it was an act of reintegration, of learning the new rhythms of a life we both thought was over. It has made us stronger and more careful, but also more connected, more loved.
I checked to make sure he's still there in the morning, every morning. Just a quiet little check to make sure the world hasn't glitched again.
I see. So the key is to acknowledge the gap, not to pretend it didn't happen, and to be grateful for the present, because the past is immutable. A valuable lesson. Thank you, both of you.
Of course. And now that we have thoroughly explored the existential angst of dimensional displacement, I think it's time for a lighter topic. Professor Climmers, you have been a superintendent your entire life, a man of administration, of order, of paperwork. Now you find yourself in a world of pure, unadulterated chaos. Have you found a hobby, a passion to occupy your time now that you are no longer superintending?
A hobby? That is an interesting question. In my previous existence, my primary hobby was ensuring all forms were filled out in triplicate. It was surprisingly fulfilling. Here, I have been at a loss.
May I make a suggestion?
Please, Gary?
Have you considered the noble pursuit of geology, the simple, profound joy of rock collecting?
Rocks? You mean rocking like Rachel? Or do you mean the aggregate material that comprises the planet's crust?
Precisely. Each one is a history book, a story of pressure and time and unimaginable heat. Look.
Oh, dear listeners, Gary is now pulling a rather large gray, and to my eye, entirely unremarkable stone from his pocket.
This is not unremarkable. This is a beautiful piece of nice. Look at the banding, the foliation. This tells a story of incredible metamorphic transformation.
The crystalline structure is remarkably uniform. The layering, it implies a directional pressure of immense force. It's like a perfectly filed geological report. It's beautiful.
Right, Climmers?
May I hold it?
Be my guest.
Oh, the texture, the weight. It's so logical, so real.
It seems you have found a convert, dear Gary.
A new friendship forged in the fires of sedimentary rock. This is just wonderful. This entire day has been wonderful. All of us here together, not as reflections or heroes or villains, but just as a family. A very, very strange, dimensionally displaced family. One that definitely still needs time to process.
I suppose it is. And for once, Seymour, I'm not even going to complain about it.
Well, dear listeners, on that profoundly heartwarming and geologically sound note, I think it's time we brought this very special broadcast to a close. From our garage to yours, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of our journey. Be kind to one another. And always, always check the oven temperature.
At least 3 times, for redundancy. But Skinner, before we say goodnight, everyone, let's talk about one last important topic while we still have Roboskinner and Climmers here in the studio.
And what might that be, Chalmers?
The future. Now that the existential dust has settled, what's next for our newest residents? Climmers, now that you may have discovered the profound joy of geology, what does your new life in Memfield hold?
It's a question I have been contemplating. My entire life has been structured around administration, schedules, reports, the comforting rhythm of bureaucracy. A life without purpose feels untiddy.
You could always run for the school board. Lord knows they could use someone who understands how to properly file a requisition form.
A tempting offer. However, I believe I have found a more grounded passion. This rock, it's fascinating. I was thinking perhaps you and I, Gary, could form a small society. The Memfield Geological Association, perhaps. We could hold meetings. We could catalog the local strata. We could polish things.
The Memfield Geological Association. I like the sound of that. We could publish a newsletter. The Daily Schist.
Oh, that's just brilliant. You two can be the founding fathers of a new golden age of rock appreciation in Memfield. And you, my dear Reflection, what does the future hold for a reformed architect of dimensional chaos?
My goals are more modest for now.
My primary directive is to learn to live, to master the art of non-burnt toast, to understand the subtle difference between a quiet house and a peaceful one, to continue my therapy and not give my parole officer any reason to believe I am constructing doomsday devices out of common household appliances.
A worthy and frankly very reassuring set of goals.
However, the scientist in me cannot remain dormant. My curiosity, it remains. I have a unique, and I believe, unparalleled understanding of trans-dimensional mechanics, an understanding born from a terrible, terrible mistake.
All right, I don't like where this is going. If you're about to suggest building a portal Toonfei electric boogaloo, the answer is a firm and resounding no. We just had reality recarpeted. I don't want to stain it.
Nothing so crude. But the portal, Rhombos's portal, when it collapsed, it did not leave our reality unscathed. It left a wound, a scar. We all felt it. Like a purple rift in the sky. I can still feel it. A faint, residual crackle at the edge of everything.
A crack in the sky, like the narrator said. Oh no, please don't tell me this all was just within Rhombos' plans.
Well, it could be. It's strange that the vortex sucked Anna, Chief and Chalmers into the unlimited steam dimension, instead of following their own plans to a new dimension of order. It is a point of structural weakness. A place where the walls between worlds are thin. My plan is not to build another bridge. It is to become a watchman on the wall. I want to study that scar, to understand it, to learn its properties, its dangers, to predict when it might become unstable.
You want to poke the dimensional wound with a stick, are you mad?
Think of it as interdimensional meteorology. You, Gary, study the atmosphere to predict a storm. I want to study the very fabric of our dimension to predict incursions, to give this town, this world, a warning system, so that we are never caught off guard by something like Rhombos again. I broke it. I feel a profound responsibility to understand how it is broken. And I want to make amends. I owe this one to the city, to the people. I want to be the guardian of the galaxy.
Well, maybe change the name for copyright reasons. But the logic is sound. If there is a flaw in the foundation of a house, it is prudent to map it, not to ignore it, and hope it doesn't collapse during a strong wind.
Oh, it's a magnificent calling. A protector of the cosmic firmament. A watcher on the walls of reality. You could be Memfield's first dimensional weatherman.
Dimensional weatherman, I hate that I don't hate that idea, but there will be rules, strict safety protocols, peer-reviewed research, and I will be supervising all of it together with Echo and Anna from Overwatch. Your lab will have an open door policy, and that door will lead directly to my office.
I would expect nothing less. I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with having Master Chief around, if needed.
Then it's settled. We have a plan, a glorious multi-faceted plan for the future. The Memfield Geological Association will handle all terrestrial matters. And what shall we call your endeavor, my dear, former evil twin?
I believe it is an extension of the same work, the study of the foundations.
The Memfield Society for Geological and Interdimensional Studies.
A fine, respectable name. It has a nice acronym. MSGIS?
We can add a subcommittee for rock polishing. It will be a triumph of amateur science and cosmic responsibility.
We should build that institute. I really like the name. The Memfield Society for Geological and Interdimensional Studies. But for today, it's time for dinner instead of paperwork for getting this institute started. Who wants some steamed clams?
Definitely me. I've heard they are delightfully devilish in this town.
They are. Trust me, they are.
Well, with that, it's time to say goodnight, Memfield. See you next time.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Goodbye, may the force be with you.
Also goodbye from me!